Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into some pretty intense source material. It's a theological look at spiritual compromise, specifically backsliding and idolatry, but maybe not the way you usually think about idols, like physical statues.
Exactly. Forget simple statues. Our sources, mainly drawing from the Old and New Testaments, they really broaden that definition. We're talking something internal, surprisingly widespread.
So our mission here.
Well, we're digging for the definitions of spiritual compromise these texts give, and they are surprisingly severe, and, the consequences they detail.
Right, and it seems we're starting with maybe the most famous failure story.
Yeah.
The golden calf. Talk about a quick turnaround.
Oh, it's absolutely the classic case study in, well, ingratitude. It's all there in Exodus 32. And to really get the weight of it, you need the context. The Israelites had just seen incredible favor.
Yeah, freed from slavery in Egypt.
Miraculously, the Red Sea parted. They left Egypt wealthy. The Psalms even say there wasn't one feeble person among them. Healthy, rich, free. Amazing.
They'd seen God's power firsthand. They just received the commandments, the big one being, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
And they didn't just hear it, they agreed. They made a conscious promise. All that the Lord hath said will we do. A covenant.
Which makes what happens next just stunning. Moses goes up the mountain.
And they can't even hold it together for 6 weeks, less than 40 days. Before Moses is even back, they're demanding, make us gods.
Wow.
It's this immediate rejection. Make us gods which shall go before us. Not just impatience, it's like replacing the rescuer on the spot.
It sounds like they weren't even tempted, they were demanding a substitute. Like, we need something visible right now.
That's exactly how the source material frames it. It emphasizes they chose to corrupt themselves, took their own gold, made an object a calf, something beneath them, and worshipped it.
Trading the invisible, all-powerful God for something they literally just made.
Yes, and God's reaction is immediate and severe. He tells Moses, your people, essentially disowning them.
No more my people.
Yeah.
Just like that. That speed is incredible. A total break in relationship.
And what's fascinating, as you said, is the text points to an internal failure. It wasn't blaming outside forces. It was their own impatience, their demand for a tangible God, which perfectly sets the stage for where this analysis goes next.
Okay, so if that's the historical template, what's the golden calf today?
That brings us to, I guess, section 2, defining idolatry in a more contemporary way.
Right. The sources move way beyond just physical objects.
Yeah.
The definition they lay out is incredibly broad. Idolatry in this view is fundamentally about misplaced priority. It's not about statues. It's about what comes first in your heart.
And the examples they give are diverse.
Very self-worship, putting faith in specific people, men or women, money, politics, careers. The list says anything else in this world.
Anything.
Anything you place before God, any priority, internal or external, that pushes God out of that #1 spot. Okay, so prioritizing, say, career advancement over a core spiritual conviction, that makes sense. But you mentioned something the sources call passive idolatry. That sounds subtle.
It is subtle, but it's a central point, and really quite dramatic when you think about it. Passive idolatry is defined simply as fearing or loving something more than God.
Fearing or loving something more.
Yeah, you might not bow down to it, but if losing it would shatter your faith, your commitment to God, then it's become an idol.
Wow, okay. That's a heavy concept.
Yeah.
How do you even test that? How do you know if, say, your ambition is healthy or if it's become an idol?
The sources give what they call a test of affection. It's pretty direct. Ask yourself, if this thing you really value, success, money, a political cause, maybe even a strong personal desire, if it were suddenly taken away, would you walk away from your faith? Or if you were asked to give it up for your faith and your reaction was deep offense, resentment, feeling like you lost part of yourself.
Then that thing, no matter how good it seems, is actually functioning as an idol.
Exactly. It's revealing where your ultimate devotion lies.
I hadn't thought of it quite like that. It suggests your greatest fear points to your greatest God. If you fear losing your job more than compromising your integrity.
Then the job has become the idol. It forces a really uncomfortable but necessary self-check, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how easily something good, like ambition or security, can twist into a spiritual danger.
Which leads right into the next point. This kind of backsliding, this shift, it doesn't usually start with some big public act. It starts silently, inside.
Section 3 then, the heart becoming insensible and these hidden idols.
Absolutely. The sources say the backslider first becomes insensible in their heart. Proverbs 14.12 is quoted, "The backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways."
Filled with his own ways.
Meaning they stop seeking God's direction and fill that space with their own opinions, their own plans, worldly ideas, maybe even foolishness.
It sounds like spiritual autopilot. Still moving, but the direction is set by personal desires, not the original commitment.
That's a good way to put it. And this is where the concept of hidden idolatry comes in, referencing Ezekiel 14.3. These idols aren't statues in your house. They're invisible. They live entirely in your mind, your thoughts, your will, the secret places of your heart.
So the text says people set up their idols in their heart.
And put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face.
Right.
So you could be, very active, outwardly volunteering, advocating, but internally, your real focus, your driving force might be fame or wealth or control.
Your heart's divided.
Yeah.
You might even look like you're serving God, but as Jeremiah puts it, it's feignedly pretend service. Your mental energy is actually devoted to that hidden idol.
That's the danger. The outward show masks the inner reality, and the sources say there are consequences for this kind of internal forsaking. It actually becomes corrective.
Corrective how? Like life starts to go wrong.
Pretty much. Jeremiah 2.19 says, "The backslider's own wickedness shall correct thee." Life itself becomes, quote, an evil thing and bitter. It's framed as the natural result when the Lord seems to withdraw from someone who first withdrew from him. The misery reflects the bitterness of the choice they made.
And that urgency is echoed in the New Testament too, right? That warning about losing your first love.
Yes, Revelation 2.4-5. It's a direct warning. Outward actions, good deeds, they aren't enough if that initial passionate commitment has cooled off. That subtle internal shift is seen as a major problem.
That internal shift, it really sets up the next point, which honestly is the most severe theological idea in these sources. Takes us back to Moses again.
Right after the golden calf incident, this is where we get the decree of deletion, and it's staggering.
Moses understood how serious this was, treason, essentially.
Yeah.
And he makes this incredible plea.
Yeah.
Total substitution.
He offers up his own eternal place. He actually says to God, "Blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written."
Wow. Moses, who talked with God face to face, willing to sacrifice his own eternity for these people who hadn't even properly repented yet.
But God's response, it's firm, unyielding, no substitution allowed here.
Yeah, that part is sobering.
God says, "Whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book." The message couldn't be clearer. Personal accountability. For this kind of internal turning away, this idolatry, you can't have someone else take the fall.
If they wanted restoration, they had to come back themselves.
Right.
Repent directly.
Yeah.
Seek God directly. It's fiercely individual.
Which really elevates the idea of the book of life. It's not just a nice metaphor. The sources treat it as critically important.
So what does that mean for us, for the listener today? How do the sources connect that?
They link it straight to the New Testament idea of the supreme privilege. You see it in Luke 10. Rejoicing over spiritual power or success, even ministry impact. That's secondary. The ultimate joy, the greatest blessing according to these texts, is simply having your name written in heaven, in that book.
So it doesn't matter if you're a CEO, a top academic, a perfect parent. If achieving that earthly success involved compromising that core spiritual standing,
then those achievements are essentially worthless. The sources are blunt. If pursuing worldly status means risking your name being blotted out of that book, the result is described as utter misery.
Utter misery. That's strong.
It is. And this is why they also warn so strongly against the fear of man. Look at Aaron with the calf. He caved to the people's demands because he was afraid of them.
And jeopardized everything.
Exactly. He put pleasing people, avoiding conflict, above obeying God. The mandate that comes through is absolute. Prioritize that eternal standing over temporary earthly approval, even if it means conflict or loss.
Which leads logically to the final section. The need for active diligence and the right kind of fear. This isn't passive waiting, it's presented as an active duty.
Completely active. The command isn't think about idolatry or manage idolatry, it's flee from idolatry. 1 Corinthians 10.14. Flee.
Like run away fast.
Yes. It requires recognizing when a rival affection is emerging, when something else starts demanding that top spot and actively turning away from it immediately.
The sources use some powerful imagery here too, right? The bride metaphor.
They do. The believer is pictured as the chaste virgin bride of Christ from 2 Corinthians. And in that picture, idolatry isn't just a mistake. It's defined as spiritual adultery.
Adultery. Wow.
So prioritizing worldly ideas may be aligning your whole moral compass with a political party instead of biblical teaching that's seen as forfeiting your spiritual chastity, breaking that primary bond.
That really clarifies the stakes. And if the root problem is often fear of what people think, The solution has to be fearing the right thing.
Exactly. Fear of God, not fear of man. Luke 12 puts it starkly. Don't fear those who can only harm your body, take your job, ruin your reputation, even kill you. Fear him, it says, which after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. It's contrasting temporary physical loss with eternal spiritual loss. There's no comparison.
When fear of people outweighs reverence for God, that's when we stray. So the sources seem to wrap this all up with a kind of final requirement. What's needed on the last day.
Yeah, it boils down to authenticity. Only those who have the Lord truly reigning in their hearts, their words, their actions, who have actively shunned idolatry and iniquity, they're the ones who can genuinely join in that final hallelujah described in Revelation 19.
The inside has to match the outside. The profession needs to be backed by the heart's true allegiance.
That's the essence of it.
Okay, so distilling this down for you, the listener, this deep dive really leads us with, I think, two huge takeaways. They seem critical. First, idolatry. It's usually not about statues. It's an internal thing, an issue of misplaced affection, misplaced priority. It could be money, fear, comfort, ambition, anything that takes God's place.
And second, the consequence for backsliding, for letting those hidden idols take root, it's presented as incredibly severe. Not just losing peace, but the potential, the actual potential for your name to be removed from the book of life. Initial faith doesn't guarantee final security if there's internal compromise.
Yeah, the sources were clear. Gaining the whole world, all the success and privilege, if it costs you your place in that book, the result is utter misery. So here's a final thought, maybe especially for you, the learner, always striving for success, knowledge, advancement. How do you check your ambitions, your career goals? Your studies, are they still just tools used in service of your core convictions? Or have they subtly become hidden idols, demanding first place, and maybe, just maybe, compromising your spiritual integrity? That's a tough question, but one worth asking ourselves regularly.